I used to race Minho through Bangkok at 2 a.m. just to prove I could beat him. Now I couldn't even get out of bed most mornings. 3 months ago, I would have argued with him about anything. Best restaurant, fastest car, better city, stupider bet. We'd compete over who could eat more spicy food or hold their breath longer or literally anything, because that's what we did. We fought. We raced. We drove each other and our parents completely insane. 3 months ago, my parents were alive. Now I was standing in the Park family penthouse in Seoul, staring at my childhood rival across the breakfast table and feeling absolutely nothing. "Your Korean got worse," Minho said. Not mean, testing, like he was poking me to see if I'd bite back. I used to bite back. I used to tell him his Thai was garbage and challenge him to prove otherwise. I used to make everything a competition, because competing with Minho was the most fun I'd ever had. "I'll work on it," I said instead. Flat, polite, dead. I watched something flicker across his face. Confusion, concern, maybe disappointment. Good, he should be disappointed. Everyone should be disappointed. I was a disappointment to my parents' legacy, to Sirapong Industries, to the person I used to be. Mrs. Park, Minho's mother, my mother's best friend since university, smiled too brightly. "Eat, sweetheart, you need your strength." I pushed food around my plate. Everything tasted like nothing. Mr. Park talked about business, transition plans, board meetings, responsibilities I wasn't ready for. I nodded in the right places, said yes sir when appropriate, performed the role of the competent heir. Inside, I was screaming. "Remember when you two raced bikes through the Bangkok market?" Mrs. Park was trying. I appreciated it, sort of. "You were 12, scared as half to death." Minho grinned at the memory. "I won." "You cheated," I heard myself say. Automatic, muscle memory. His grin widened. "Prove it." That's when I was supposed to argue, challenge him to a rematch, start our familiar bickering that everyone found entertaining. Instead, I said, "It was a long time ago." His grin faded. I excused myself, went to my room, a guest room that was bigger than my university apartment had been, decorated in neutral tones that felt like a hotel. Everything was too clean, too perfect, too not mine. I closed the door and stood there, breathing. This is my life now, living with my parents' friends because my parents wrote it in their will, living with Park Minho, who I'd known since I was 8 years old and competed with over a decade, living with the person who knew exactly who I used to be, which made it so much worse that I couldn't be that person anymore. There was a knock. "Arun?" Minho's voice. "Can I come in?" "I'm tired." "It's 9 a.m. "I'm still tired." Silence. Then, "I know this is weird, but we've known each other forever. You can talk to me, or yell at me. Arguing with you is kind of our thing." Our thing. Like we were still those kids racing bikes, like nothing had changed. Everything had changed. "Thank you, Minho. I appreciate it. Good night." I heard him sigh, heard his footsteps walk away. I unpacked my suitcase, hung up clothes in a closet 3 times too big, found the box at the bottom, my parents' personal belongings, things from the crash site, their watches, my mother's jewelry, my father's wedding ring. A photo album. I opened it. Pictures of my childhood, my parents smiling, family vacations, me as a baby, a toddler, a teenager, and scattered throughout photos of the parks, our families together at business conferences, galas, beach vacations, me and Minho in almost every photo, always competing about something, racing in the pool, building the taller sandcastle, arm wrestling at the dinner table while our parents laughed. There was one specific photo. Me and Minho at 13 covered head to toe in mud after racing motorbikes through monsoon rain, both of us grinning like absolute idiots, competitive and alive and so fucking happy. I stared at that boy. I didn't know him anymore. That's when I broke. Not crying, not at first, just this sound, animal and raw, ripping out of my throat. Then the tears came, sobs I've been holding since the funeral, since the moment someone knocked on my dorm room at 3 a.m. and told me my parents' plane went down. I pressed my face into my knees and completely fell apart. I didn't hear the door open, didn't notice Minho until there was a hand on my shoulder. Don't. I tried to stop, tried to pull myself together. I'm sorry, I'm fine. You're not fine. He sat beside me on the floor, didn't say anything else, just sat there. I should have told him to leave, should have been embarrassed, should have performed strength like I'd been doing for months. Instead, I collapsed against him and cried on his shoulder like I was still that 13-year-old kid who thought Minho was his best friend even if he'd never admit it. Minho held me, steady, solid, real. When I finally stopped, when there were no tears left, we sat in silence.
"You don't have to be strong here," Minho said quietly. "Not with me. We've known each other too long for that bullshit." I pulled back. His shirt was soaked. His expression was concerned, but not pitying. "I don't know how to be that person anymore," I admitted. "The one who raced you and argued and gave a shit about anything. I don't know if he still exists." Minho looked at the photo still clutched in my hand. Him and me, covered in mud, grinning. "He's still in there. That person who'd race me through a monsoon just to prove he could, who argued about everything just because arguing with me was fun. He's still there, Arun." "How do you know?" "Because you just called me out for cheating in that bike race. Automatic, like breathing. The instinct is still there. You just need time." "What if I don't have time? What if I need to run Siripong Industries and I can't even get out of bed in the morning?" "Then we figure it out, together." He stood, offered me his hand. "But first, you need to sleep, real sleep, not whatever you've been doing." I took his hand, let him pull me up. "Why are you being nice to me?" "Because someone has to be, and because I missed you. At the funeral, you looked right through me, like I wasn't there, like we weren't friends? Something like that." He headed for the door. "Get some sleep. I'm down the hall if you need anything, even if you just want to argue about something stupid." He left. I climbed into bed and stared at the ceiling. Minho was going to bring me back. The real me. The competitive, argumentative, alive version. And part of me, small, buried, barely breathing, wanted him to try. Living with Minho was like living with a very persistent ghost from my past. He was everywhere. Morning coffee, he'd slide into the seat across from me and make deliberately wrong statements about Thailand just to see if I'd correct him. "Bangkok traffic isn't that bad." I'd stare at my coffee, say nothing. "Thai food is overrated." Nothing. "That last race you won? Pure luck." My eye would twitch, but I wouldn't take the bait. At university, he'd introduce me to his friends, Jiwoo and Hana, who were genuine in a way that felt foreign. They'd try to include me, I'd be polite, distant. Everyone knew who I was. The Siripong heir, the boy whose parents died. Some looked at me with pity, others with calculation. Minho would watch me perform competence, never called me out on it, just watched. After 1 month, he was able to make some breakthrough. We were studying, Minho helping me with Korean business terminology because my language skills were rusty and everything was harder when you could barely focus. "This term means partnership," Minho explained, pointing to the textbook. "I know. And this one, I know, Minho, I'm not stupid. Didn't say you were, just making sure you... I speak Korean. I've spoken Korean since we were kids. You taught me half these curse words yourself when we were 12. He paused. "You just argued with me." I stopped, realized what I'd done. Engaged, actually engaged instead of just nodding along.
Minho grinned. There he is. Shut up. Make me? I'm not arguing with you. You literally just did. Twice. He leaned back, looking satisfied. Progress. I wanted to be annoyed, wanted to go back to the numbness, but something in my chest felt lighter, just a fraction. This doesn't mean anything. Sure it doesn't. That night, I couldn't sleep. Too many thoughts. Business reports I didn't understand, pressure I couldn't handle, the weight of expectations crushing me. I went to the kitchen for water. Minho was already there. Can't sleep either? Apparently not. He made tea. Thai tea, not Korean. Someone had gone out of their way to buy it. We sat at the kitchen counter. 3 a.m. The city lights of Seoul spread out through the windows. You want to talk about it? Minho asked. Not particularly. Okay. We sat in silence, drinking tea, existing in the same space without performing anything. Do you remember that time we snuck out of the hotel in Singapore? Minho said eventually. During that conference when we were 15? I did remember. We'd stolen a key card, snuck past security, explored the city until dawn. Got in massive trouble. Worth it. We climbed that building, the one with the rooftop garden. You were terrified of heights but refused to admit it. I wasn't terrified. You held onto the railing so hard your knuckles were white. Shut up. There it is. That's the Arun I remember. The one who'd never admit weakness even when it was obvious. I'm not that person anymore. Why not? Because that person had parents, had a future that wasn't drowning in responsibility he's not ready for, I stopped. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. I looked at him, really looked. He was serious, concerned, not pitying, just honest. Why? Why do you care? Because we've known each other for over a decade. Because you're the only person who ever challenged me. Because when you showed up at that first business conference when you were 8, you immediately tried to race me to the elevator, and I've been competing with you ever since. He set down his tea. Because you're my rival, my friend, He stopped. You're what? Doesn't matter. He stood. Get some sleep. We have class tomorrow. He left before I could push. I sat there, tea cooling in my hands, feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Curious, confused, a little bit annoyed, alive. Secretary Kim called the next day. Reports, decisions, a hotel property in Phuket that was underperforming. The board wanted to sell it. It was your father's favorite property, where he proposed to your mother, but sentimentality isn't good business. I stared at the spreadsheets, numbers that didn't make sense, decisions I wasn't qualified to make. I need time to review, I said. The board needs an answer by Friday. 3 days. I had 3 days to make a decision that could tank or save a property worth millions. I hung up and just sat there, drowning. Minho found me an hour later, still staring at papers. What's wrong? Nothing. Arun. Business stuff. I can handle it. He looked at the papers, looked at my face, sat down without asking. Show me. You don't have to. Show me. I did. He read through everything, asked questions, pointed out clauses I'd missed, explained terminology, made it make sense. We worked until midnight. By the end, I had a plan. Not perfect, but workable. Why are you helping me? I asked. Because you need help. You have your own company to worry about. Park Group isn't going anywhere, and you look like you're drowning. I'm not going to just watch. I can handle this myself. You don't have to. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't have to handle everything alone. Something in my chest cracked, just a little. I don't know how not to handle it alone. Then learn. Start by letting me help. Then we'll work on the rest. The rest? Getting you back. The real you. The one who'd never let me help with homework because you had to prove you were smarter. The one who raced me over everything. The one who's still in there, buried under all this grief. He left. I sat there, staring at the organized papers, the plan we'd built together, and felt the smallest spark of something that might have been hope. Minho challenged me to a racing game. Video game. Low stakes. I almost said no. Scared you'll lose? My competitive instinct, buried for months, stirred. I'm not scared. Prove it. We played. It was stupid, just a game, but watching Minho deliberately make mistakes, obviously letting me win, you're throwing the race. He paused the game. Prove it. You just missed an easy turn. Maybe I'm bad at this game.
You're not bad at anything. You're letting me win. I restarted the race. Play for real or don't play at all. He grinned. There he is. We raced again. Actually raced. He didn't hold back. It was close. I was leaning forward, focused, actually caring about something for the first time in months. I won by half a second. Then I looked at him and something in my chest sparked. I won. You won. He was watching me with this expression, pride, relief, something else I couldn't name. Feel good? It did. It felt amazing, like a part of me had been dead and just gasped back to life. Don't get used to it. I'm rusty. Sure you are. He was still smiling. Want to go again? We played for 2 hours, competed over stupid video game races like we were kids again, and for 2 hours I forgot about dead parents and crushing responsibility and the fact that I was supposed to be grieving. I just existed, competed, felt alive. A week later, Jiwoo convinced us to play basketball. I hadn't played since before the accident, hadn't done anything physical except force myself through daily routines. I don't think I started. Scared? Minho asked. It worked. We played, me and Jiwoo versus Minho and Hana. My body remembered even if my mind was slow. Muscle memory kicked in. Minho guarded me, too close, deliberately physical. You're slow, he said. I'm out of practice. Excuses. I stole the ball from him, scored, turned back with a grin I didn't know I still had. What was that about slow? His expression shifted, something heated in his eyes. We played rough, competitive, physical in a way that felt familiar and also completely new. Every time we collided, every time his hand steadied me or mine pushed him, I noticed. His breath, his warmth, the way he looked at me when I scored, the way he smiled when he won. After, sitting on the court drinking water, I felt satisfaction, pride, the high of competition, and awareness of Minho beside me, shoulder touching mine. This was good, Minho said. Yeah, I meant it. We should do it again. Are you asking me to spend more time with you? I'm asking my rival to stop hiding and actually compete again, because winning is no fun when you're not trying. I'm always trying. Bullshit. You've been going through the motions for 2 months. That was the first time I've seen you actually try since you got here. He was right. I hated that he was right. Maybe I needed someone to push me, I admitted. Good thing you've got me then. Jiwoo dragged us out to a club later that week. You both need to have fun, he declared. Actual fun, not business meetings fun. The club was loud, crowded, expensive, the kind of place where heirs and celebrities mixed without being bothered. I didn't want to go, but Minho gave me this look, challenging, expectant, and I couldn't back down. We drank, danced. For the first time in months, I felt almost normal. Minho stayed close, protective but not hovering. We ended up competing even there. Who could get more attention? Who was a better dancer? Who could down shots faster? Stupid competitions, but they made me laugh. At some point, we ended up in a corner, both too warm, too close. I missed this, Minho said, nearly shouting over the music. What? You, like this, alive. I looked at him. The club lights caught his face, made his eyes shine. He was looking at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. The air between us felt charged, different. I'm not the same person, I said. No, but parts of you are still there. He touched my arm, just briefly, but I felt it everywhere. The parts that matter. We were standing too close, the music was too loud, the alcohol made everything fuzzy around the edges except him. I thought about kissing him. Then immediately thought, what the fuck? This is Minho, my childhood rival, the person I've been competing with for over a decade. But also, my childhood rival who knows exactly how to make me feel alive again, who pushes me without breaking me, who looks at me like I'm still worth something. Arun, he started.
My phone rang. Secretary Kim, of course. The spell broke. I answered, business crisis, something about contracts. When I turned back, Minho was gone, getting us water, giving me space. But something had shifted. We both felt it. The hotel property crisis came to a head a few days later. I wanted to keep it. Secretary Kim wanted to sell it. The board wanted a decision. Minho wasn't just helping anymore, he was challenging every choice.
That strategy is safe, he said. Safe isn't bad. Safe is boring. The Arun I knew wouldn't settle for boring. Maybe I'm not that person. Then who are you? Because this isn't you. This is you playing it safe because you're scared. I'm not scared. Yes, you are. You're terrified you'll make the wrong choice and ruin everything your parents built, so you're not making any real choices at all. We were standing now, facing each other, voices rising. You don't understand the pressure. I understand perfectly. I've been training to run Park Group my entire life, but at least I make decisions, at least I try. You're so busy being afraid that you've stopped being you. And who am I supposed to be? The person who raced you for fun? Who argued about everything? That person's parents didn't just die. So what? You're just going to stop existing? Stop fighting? Stop giving a shit about anything? I give a shit about not destroying my parents' legacy. Then fight for it. Make the bold choice. Take the risk. The Arun I knew would have already made a decision and defended it to anyone who challenged him. That Arun wouldn't let fear win. Why do you care so much? The question came out raw. Because you gave up. You stopped fighting, and I can't watch you disappear. His voice was quieter, but more intense. You're still in there. The person who raced me through Bangkok at 2 a.m., who argued with me about everything just to prove he was right, who made me want to be better because he wouldn't let me settle. That person is still in there, and I'm not giving up on him. The air was charged. We were too close. Why does it matter to you? We're rivals. We've always been rivals. Why do you care if I'm different? Because you're not just my rival. He met my eyes, serious, vulnerable in a way I never seen. You never were. Then what am I? He didn't answer, just looked at me like he wanted to say something we couldn't. Then he walked away. I stood there, shaking. From the argument, from adrenaline, from whatever the fuck that was between us. And I realized, I felt alive. Angry and confused and overwhelmed, but alive. For the first time since my parents died, I felt something real. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept replaying the argument, the way Minho looked at me, the way he said, "You're not just my rival." I thought about the last 2 months, every time he provoked me, every late-night conversation, every challenge, every moment he pushed me to be more than the hollow ghost I'd become. I thought about how my pulse raced when we competed, how I noticed his laugh, his smile, the way he looked at me. I thought about almost kissing him in that club. Oh no. This wasn't just rivalry anymore. Maybe it never had been. Maybe all those years of competing and arguing and driving each other crazy, maybe that was just how we'd been able to be close without admitting we wanted to be close. Maybe I'd been falling for my rival since we were kids and just never realized it. The thought terrified me, because if I admitted this, if I acknowledged these feelings, everything would change. Our rivalry, our friendship, the dynamic that had defined us for over a decade. And I'd already lost so much. I couldn't lose this, too. But lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, all I could think about was Minho's face when he said, "You're not just my rival," and how much I wanted to know what I was to him instead. I found Minho in the garage 2 days later. "Drive with me," I said. He looked up from his phone. "What? You wanted the old me back, the one who'd race you over anything? Here I am." I gestured to the cars. His, mine, both expensive and fast. "Let's race." "Arun, you haven't driven since—" "I know. That's why I need to do it. With you." I held his gaze. "Unless you're scared, I'll beat you." He smiled, slow and genuine. "Never." We drove. Started on empty highways outside Seoul. Slow at first. Me remembering how this felt. The control, the speed, the power. Then faster. The city lights blurred. The world narrowed just to the road and Minho's car beside mine. We raced properly, competitive, both pushing, that old dynamic fully alive. I won by half a car length. We pulled over at an overlook. Got out. You vowed to bring me back, didn't you? The old me. Minho didn't deny it. Yeah. It worked. I stepped closer. But now I don't know what to do with everything I'm feeling. What are you feeling? This was it, the moment where I could be honest or run. I'd been running for 2 months, hiding from everything. Grief, responsibility, feelings. I was done running. I want to race you again. I want to argue with you about stupid things. I want to beat you at everything just to see that look on your face when I win. I stopped, scared. Minho stepped closer. What else do you want, Arun? I want to stop pretending this is just about rivalry. I want to stop pretending I don't notice every time you look at me. I want to stop feeling guilty for being happy when you're around.
I want you. And I don't know if that makes me selfish or stupid or completely insane, but I can't keep lying about it. Silence. Minho was staring at me. Forget it, I started to say. He kissed me. Not gentle, not careful. Desperate and relieved and overwhelming, like he'd been waiting for this as long as I had without realizing it. I kissed him back, grabbed his shirt, pulled him closer. This was nothing like our accidental touches during competition, nothing like the charged moments in clubs. This was deliberate, wanted, real. When we finally stopped, my hands were still fisted in his shirt. I feel the same way, Minho said, voice rough. I've felt this way for months, maybe years if I'm being completely honest. Maybe every race was just an excuse to have your attention. Maybe every argument was just because I wanted you to look at me the way you're looking at me right now. How am I looking at you? Like I matter. Like I'm not just your rival or your responsibility or someone you're stuck with. Like you actually want me. I do want you. That's the problem. Why is that a problem? Because you're Park Minho. Your parents took me in. We're supposed to merge our companies. You're supposed to be like a brother. I have never thought of you as a brother. And my parents just died, and I should be grieving, not feeling this. You can do both. Grief and joy. Missing them and wanting something for yourself. They don't cancel each other out. His hands were still on my face, gentle now. You're allowed to be happy, Arun, even after loss, especially after loss. What if this is just because I'm broken and you're the only person who understands? Then we figure it out, together, like we always have, competing, arguing, driving each other crazy. Despite everything, I laughed. We're still going to compete over everything, aren't we? Obviously, I'm not letting you win just because we're together. Together. The words settled in my chest, warm and terrifying. Is that what we are? Do you want to be? 3 months ago, I would have said love was a fairy tale, that I didn't need anyone, that I was fine alone. 3 months ago, I was wrong about a lot of things. Yeah, I want to be. He kissed me again, softer this time, sweet and sure and full of promise. Seoul glittered below us. 2 cars, 2 rivals who'd been competing for over a decade without realizing they were competing for each other's hearts all along. What happens now? I asked. Now we go home. We tell my parents, because hiding this in the same house would be impossible. We figure out how to run 2 companies while also being together. We compete over everything and make up by kissing, and you stop pretending you're fine when you're not. Deal? Deal. I kissed him once more, because I could, because he wanted me to, because for the first time since my parents died, I wanted something for myself. But I'm still going to beat you at everything. I'm counting on it. We drove back holding hands. The next morning, we asked to talk to his parents. Formal sitting room, both of us nervous. I was about to speak when Minho just said it. We're together.
romantically. Mrs. Park didn't look surprised at all. How long? Officially, last night, but probably longer if we're being honest. Mr. Park was processing. I could see the business calculations happening, the complications. This changes things, he said carefully. I know, and I'm sorry if we've made things difficult, but I need you to know this isn't going to affect Siripong Industries or our family's agreement. I'm still committed to learning, to eventually merging the companies, to honoring what my parents wanted. Arun, Mrs. Park reached over, took my hand, took Minho's too. Your mother was my best friend, and she always said you and Minho were either going to kill each other or figure out you belonged together. I blinked. What? She smiled, emotional. You two have been competing for each other's attention since you were 8 years old. At every family gathering, every business trip, always focused on each other, always pushing each other. Your parents and we used to joke that you fought like you were already married. We did joke about that, Mr. Park admitted. He was looking at both of us now, not as business assets, as people. And you've both been miserable trying to pretend this was just rivalry. So no, I'm not surprised. Are you both certain? There's a lot at stake. Public scrutiny, business partnerships that depend on both of you. This complicates everything. We're sure, Minho said, firm, no hesitation. I nodded. Those companies will be stronger with both of us leading together. We've always pushed each other to be better. That hasn't changed. This just means we're honest about what we are to each other now. Mrs. Park was crying, happy tears. Your mother would have loved seeing you happy again, Arun. She hated seeing you so serious all the time. She always said Minho brought out your competitive side, your joy. I'm just glad you both figured it out. Mr. Park sighed, but he was smiling. Then we support you, both of you. But you'll need to be prepared for what this means publicly. The media, the business world, people will have opinions. Let them, Minho said. We'll handle it. Relief washed over me. Acceptance. The family that took me in when I had nothing, they weren't just accepting this. They were celebrating it. Thank you for everything. For taking me in, for not giving up on me, for letting me be part of your family. Mrs. Park hugged me. You've always been family, sweetheart. This just makes it official in a different way.
6 months later. The board meeting was in 10 minutes and Minho was still arguing with me. The Singapore expansion makes more sense. The Manila property has better ROI. You're being stubborn. I'm being right. There's a difference. We were in the conference room of the newly merged Siripong Park headquarters. 6 months of integration. 6 months of competing over every decision. 6 months of driving each other absolutely insane. 6 months of being happy. Rock, paper, scissors? Minho suggested. You always pick rock. I do not. He stopped. That's beside the point. So you admit it. I admit nothing. He checked his watch. Board meeting in 5 minutes. We need a unified recommendation. Fine, we present both options and let them decide. That's not a solution, that's avoidance. That's called democracy, Minho. That's called you not wanting to lose an argument. Says the person who literally bought a whiteboard to prove he was right about the Tokyo deal. I was right about the Tokyo deal. You were lucky about the Tokyo deal. Same thing. It's really not... Jiwoo poked his head in. Are you two fighting or flirting? The board is arriving. Both, we said in unison. He shook his head, grinning. Never change, you two, seriously. It's like watching a married couple. After he left, Minho looked at me. Married couple? Don't even think about it. We've been together 6 months. I'm not thinking about anything. But he was smiling. Although, Minho, what? I'm just saying, if we're going to merge companies anyway, I swear to God, if you propose during a business crisis, would I do that? Yes, absolutely yes. You proposed that ridiculous Manila expansion during my birthday dinner. That was strategic timing. That was you being unable to turn off your business brain for 5 seconds. Says the person who scheduled our first date around quarterly earnings. That was efficient. That was you being you. He pulled me closer, which I love, by the way, even when you're wrong about Manila. I'm not wrong about Manila. We'll see.
We will, and when I'm right, you're taking me to that restaurant in Gangnam you keep avoiding. Deal. But when I'm right, you're admitting Seoul has better nightlife than Bangkok. Never happening. He kissed me, quick and sure. We'd gotten good at timing these. Fast enough to be meaningful, timed perfectly to avoid being caught by his parents or business associates. You taste like coffee, I said. You taste like terrible life choices. That's the worst line you've ever used. You're still kissing me, though. I was. I pulled back. Board meeting. Focus. I'm very focused. On the wrong thing. I disagree. But he straightened his tie, grabbed his tablet. Fine, we present both options, but I'm noting for the record that Manila is a terrible choice. Noted, and wrong. We walked into the boardroom together. Secretary Kim was already there, along with the department heads from both companies. Some still looked uncomfortable with the merger. Two powerful families combining everything. Two heirs who'd been rivals now running things together. But the numbers didn't lie. Since we'd started working together, both companies had grown. Siripang Industries was expanding into new markets. Park Group was diversifying successfully. The synergy everyone had hoped for was actually happening. Mostly because we couldn't let the other fail. Our competitive nature had become the company's greatest asset. Gentlemen, Secretary Kim said, shall we begin? The meeting lasted 2 hours. We debated, argued. Minho presented his case for Singapore. I presented mine for Manila. The board asked questions. In the end, they voted. Manila, by 1 vote. I tried not to look smug. Don't, Minho muttered beside me. I'm not saying anything. You're thinking it very loudly. Maybe you should have made a better presentation. Maybe you should be less insufferable when you win. Where's the fun in that? After the meeting, we had separate appointments. Minho had meetings with the tech division. I had calls with the hotel properties in Thailand. Dinner tonight? He asked. Can't. I have that charity gala. The one for education reform?
Yeah, you were supposed to come with me. I have the investor dinner in Tokyo, remember? We scheduled around it. I did remember. We'd spend an hour arguing about whose commitment took priority before deciding we'd just attend separately. Tomorrow, then? Tomorrow I'm in Bangkok for site inspections. I'm in Singapore for the expansion meetings. We looked at each other. This was the reality of running two companies while being together. Schedules that barely aligned. Time stolen between meetings. Relationships conducted through video calls and text messages. This is ridiculous, Minho said. It's temporary. Once the merger is fully integrated, it's been 6 months. There's always going to be something. He was right. There would always be another meeting, another crisis, another reason we couldn't be in the same city at the same time. So what do? I asked. We figure it out, like we always do. He checked his watch. I have to go. My flight leaves in 2 hours. Mine leaves in 3. Call me tonight? If you're not asleep. I'm never asleep when you call. He kissed me. Longer this time. The kind of kiss that said goodbye and I'll miss you and hurry back. When he pulled away, his expression was serious. What? I asked. Nothing. Just, I'm glad we're doing this. Even when it's complicated. Even when we're arguing about expansion strategies and barely seeing each other. I'm glad it's you. Something in my chest tightened. Me too. Now go, be brilliant at your gala, make those donors empty their wallets. Go, be charming at your dinner, close that deal. We separated. Him to Tokyo, me to the gala. Both of us carrying phones that would ring with the other's name. Both of us learning how to love someone while building empires. The gala was exactly as boring as I expected. Rich people in expensive clothes pretending to care about causes while networking. I gave my speech, shook hands, smiled for photos. My phone buzzed. Minho. How's the gala? Me. Terrible. Everyone keeps asking about the merger. Minho. Tell them it's going amazing and I'm a nightmare to work with. Me. I'm supposed to lie? Minho. Rude. How's the speech reception? Me. Standing ovation, but I think it's because I mentioned we're matching donations. Minho. Whatever works. Tokyo dinner is boring. They're talking about profit margins. Me. That's literally your job. Minho. That doesn't make it less boring. I'd rather be arguing with you about Manila. Me. You mean losing arguments about Manila. Minho. 1 vote. You won by 1 vote.
Me. A win is a win. Minho. I'm going to prove you wrong. Me. Looking forward to it. Minho. Miss you. I stared at those two words. Me. Miss you too. Minho. When are you back in Seoul? Me. Thursday. You? Minho. Wednesday night. I'll pick you up from the airport. Me. You don't have to. Minho. I want to. Let me do something nice without arguing about it. Me. Fine, but only because airport pickups are romantic. Minho. You think I'm romantic? Me. Don't let it go to your head. Minho. Too late. I smiled at my phone like an idiot. Someone approached, a board member from one of our partner companies in Malaysia. Mr. Sirapong, wonderful speech. I wanted to discuss the potential partnership we mentioned last quarter. I pocketed my phone, back to business. But I felt lighter, knowing that in a few days, I'd see Minho again. We'd argue about something stupid, compete over something meaningless, and it would be exactly what I needed. Thursday came. I landed in Seoul exhausted. The Bangkok site inspections had gone well, but they'd been intensive. 14-hour days, back-to-back meetings, decisions about renovations and staffing and marketing strategies. I cleared customs, grabbed my bag, and walked into arrivals. Minho was there, holding a sign that said, Arun's Taxi Service, with a terrible drawing of a car. I laughed, couldn't help it. You're ridiculous, I said, walking up to him. You're late. Flight was delayed 20 minutes. How did you... I tracked it, obviously. He took my bag. How was Bangkok? Exhausting, good, productive. How was Singapore? Successful. The expansion is moving forward. I was right about the market timing. I never said you were wrong about timing.
You implied it. I implied you were overly optimistic. Same thing. We were already bickering, already falling into our rhythm. He drove us back to the penthouse. We'd moved into our own place 3 months ago, still in the same building as his parents, but separate. Our own space. It was filled with our stuff now. My photos from Thailand, his books about technology, our shared office where we worked late into the night, arguing about strategies and throwing wadded paper at each other when frustrated. Home. I dropped my bag in the bedroom. Minho was making tea in the kitchen. I kept the property, I said. He turned. What? The Phuket Hotel, the one where my dad proposed. I found a way to turn it around. New management, some renovations, targeting a different market segment. The board approved it this morning. His expression softened. Arun. I know it's sentimental. I know it's not the smart business choice. But you were right. The old me would have fought for it, so I did. He crossed the kitchen, pulled me into a hug. I'm proud of you, he said quietly. Don't get used to it. This is a one-time thing. Sure it is. We stood there, just holding each other. No competition, no argument, just this. I have something to tell you too, Minho said. What? Manila was the right choice. I pulled back. What? Your expansion plan. I reviewed the updated projections. You were right. The Manila property has better long-term potential than Singapore. He smiled. Don't look so smug. I'm not smug. I'm vindicated. There's a difference. Barely. You're just mad I was right. I'm not mad. I'm impressed. There's a difference. I kissed him because I could, because he was here and we were home, and for once, we weren't in different cities or different meetings or different time zones. I love you, I said. The words still felt new, still felt scary, but also true. I love you too, even when you're insufferable about being right. Especially then. Especially then, he agreed. We made dinner together, argued about whose turn it was to do dishes, worked in our shared office for a few hours, competed over who could answer emails faster. Later, lying in bed, Minho said, Jiwoo was right, you know. About what? We do fight like a married couple. We fight like rivals who happen to be in love. Is there a difference? I thought about it. No, I guess there isn't. Good, because I'm not stopping the competition just because I love you. I wouldn't want you to. And I'm not letting you win just because we're together. I know, you've said. I just want to be clear. Minho. What? Shut up and go to sleep. Make me. I kissed him, long and slow and thorough. There, I said when I pulled back. Shut up now? For now, but he was smiling. Until tomorrow when we argue about the quarterly reports. I'm looking forward to it. And I was. looking forward to the arguments and the competitions and the constant push-pull of being with someone who challenged me every single day, looking forward to building something together, not just companies, but a life. I used to race Minho through Bangkok at 2 a.m. just to prove I could beat him. Now I raced him through spreadsheets and strategy meetings and every decision we made together. Now I knew what I was racing for. Not victory, not pride, but this, us, the constant competition that was really just another word for partnership. Race you to sleep, Minho mumbled. That doesn't even make sense. First one asleep wins. That's the opposite of how racing works. Are you in or not? I closed my eyes. I'm in. Good. His breathing was already slowing. Because I'm winning. You wish. But I was smiling. Because with Minho, even losing felt like winning. And winning felt like coming home. The end.
Appreciate you watching. Hit subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next story.